Hello all you coin collecting aficionados out there, and welcome to the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. As you can see, today we're going to talk about the Great Britain half penny coin. And we have coins from 1861 to 1971 here, and of course they continued on after that. Now what we'll do is we'll just start with the first one we see here, and we'll work our way down through. Now, this first one is almost unrecognizable, but it is, if you know British coins, it's almost very recognizable as the second portrait of Queen Victoria on the British halfpenny. Some people call this the bunhead version of Queen Victoria. And this one, Queen Victoria, is facing to the left. This is the second portrait, which means there was a first portrait. The first portrait of the Queen Victoria in a halfpenny went from 1838 until 1860. We don't have that one. We have the second portrait, so it's not very old. This one, in fact, is only from 1861. So this one here is only about 160 years old. But what it does have, as you can see on the very bottom, is you can see a discernible date. So it's kind of nice. I kept it. It's an old beat up coin. You can see it has a kind of gouge in it. It does have the standard back on it, which is the seated figure of Britannia facing to the right, a trident in hand, a shield bearing the Union flag down on the right, and the denomination is around, which you can't really see. You can see the HA for the half, and you really can't see anything other than that in terms of the halfpenny part of it. So this was the 1861. This was a bronze coin at 5.7 grams, 25.4 millimeters in diameter, 1.3 millimeters thick. The 1860 version, 6.6 million of them were minted. The 1861 version, 54 million of them were minted. So there were a lot of these minted, and even if you find this one in better condition than this, say very good condition, it may only be worth $1.50 to $2, even though it is so old. The next coin, and those of you who know the British royal lineage know that it's going to be George V, who came in after Queen Victoria. So this is a George V, by the grace of God, King of Britain, and Emperor of India. That's what it says in Latin around here. Essentially, it is a kind of an inner-toothed. He is facing to the left. The often you see this big ear here because all the rest of the head is worn down. You can kind of still see the mustache. Now this particular coin, as you can see when we turn it over, is a smooth edge, was made in 1912. Now the George V pennies first came out in 1911, so this is the second year. You can read some of the half and most of the penny. Again, we see it's Britannia facing to the right with a trident in hand and a shield down. Now this one, you may notice, and let's go back to the Victoria, because some of the coins had the lighthouse back here and some of them didn't. And this George V does not have the lighthouse and does not have the island out here. So you see when they moved to this one, they took the lighthouse out. They took the island, or the figure out here, the boat figure out here too. And you can see a little bit of the boat figure in this one, but not very much. A ship, we should call it, not a boat. So this is the George V from 1912. The 1912 coin, also a bronze coin, 5.7 grams. And in 1912, about 21 million of these were made, again, pre-World War I. Next in line, George's son, George VI. So we see on this one, George VI, by the grace of God, King of Britain, and Emperor of India. So this one still must be before 1948, when India became an independent country from Great Britain. Actually, they did mint this in 1948. So let's see when we get to the back what year it is. This 1948 was the last year we had the Emperor of India on here, and this is 1942. So the last one we looked at came from just before World War I. This one comes from during the midst of World War II, and again, it's a great British warship on there. There were 72 million of these minted in 1942. Again, the toothed inner edge. Quite a different portrait on the back than the Seated Britannia with the shield. And we see over here, we can see the initials of the engraver, and this particular one was engraved by Thomas Humphrey Paget, and this is Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind. That's what ship this is that Mr. Paget engraved on here. Just a beautiful coin. Let's go right down and you can just see how finely detailed it is, and you can see the initials there and the halfpenny at the top. All right, next in line we get to Queen Elizabeth II, and this coin, you'll notice, seems to be a little bit smaller, but it's actually not. It's actually the same size. It's just so bright and shiny. I don't know why bright and shiny would look smaller, but it sure does look smaller. And there she is, facing to the right, Queen Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, and the kind of ribbons flying in the hair behind her. This particular coin was minted from 1954 to 1970, and it is in this. There's a number of different things on here. Now, some of these coins on the front of them will say there's a couple of reverse varieties. There's different bead varieties on the back, and we'll look at those as we go into this. So this particular coin, let's flip it over and see. It was right in the midst of these big halfpenny coins being made. Just a beautiful, again, it's a Golden Hind. Again, it's a halfpenny. It's a 1967. And in 1967, there were 147 million of these made. Now, 147 million is a huge number, and you kind of wonder why they made such a huge number of these. This coin was not minted again until 1970. So from 1967 to 1970, it wasn't minted again. And then, as many of you British coin aficionados know already, in 1971, after the end of this coin's mintage, we switched to the 1971 half pennies. Now, these were the first of the. These are the same coin, just a little bit different wear value, and I just want to put them both together. This particular coin, this halfpenny, was first minted in 1971 and went till 1981. It's the second crowned portrait, so you can see the crown on this one, of Queen Elizabeth II facing right, and she's wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Again, around the edge it says Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen and Defender of the Faith, and in the year up here, 1971. On the back of these coins, we also see a huge difference in the coins, and that is we've turned to the decimalization looking coins, and there it is, the half penny from 1971. And just has the crown. It has the 1/2 underneath it. These almost look like pawns from a chessboard. It says new penny at the top. You can see the cross on, and then you can see the beaded inner edge of this coin. This 1971 coin, the first year of decimalization, 1.4 billion of these were made. Nevertheless, these coins are probably worth 25 to 50 cents. Well, 25 cents each, because they are circulated 1971 coins. And again, the back, this is particular crown is the crown of Henry VI, the founder of the House of Tudor. It is a bronze coin, and instead of weighing the massive weights of the other coins, it weighs 1.6 grams instead of 1.78 grams instead of the 5.7 grams of the bigger coins. Well, there you have it. We've got our halfpenny coins of Britain, and hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, please leave a comment in the comment section, and feel free to subscribe to our DC Coin World International coin channel.